Adventure Bike Shop, proud sponsors of Adventure Bike TV. Rubbish Adverts.
Great at adventure.
Hello and welcome to episode 1 of season 4 of Adventure Bike TV. 3 long years. No, not long years at all. We love every second of it. But we have to pinch ourselves every now and then that this is our 4th year. So thank you so much for sticking with us. And with weather like this, we had to come and film outside. Now, every so often with the bike review, we like to bring 2 bikes together. And sometimes it's comparing 2 different manufacturers, 2 different types of bikes, but on this month's bike review we're comparing a little brother and a big brother.
Our lids open away from the bike so they can be opened fully without interference, and they create a useful working area. Metal Mule, engineered to be different. Proud sponsors of the bike reviews on Adventure Bike TV.
Now, at the end of last month's show, we promised you that the bike review this month would not only be 2 bikes, but it would also be 2 presenters. And we have, for the first time, I think, in probably about a year, the most wonderful Mr. Nathan Millward back with us.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing me back out of the darkness.
You have returned to the fold. Right, so Nathan's done all the arranging for these bikes today, so tell us a little bit about which Suzukis we got.
Well, we've got the new 1000 XT and the new 650 XT. New revisions for 2017. The 1000's obviously got, the XT is new for this year. Got the spoke wheels, tapered handlebars, a few little tweaks to make it Euro 4 compliant, but not a great deal of changes other than cosmetic. And then they've got the 650 V-strom, which has a few engine changes to the frame, mainly to the styling, just to bring it up to speed with its competitors. So I think the interesting comparison would be to see how the 650 compares to the 1000, because I think the 650's historically been a lot more popular bike than the 1000, but I've always loved the 1000.
Yeah.
It's a really underrated bike, and the thing that was lacking from the 1000 was the XT treatment, just to give it that wire wheel look. So I think this could be a genuine alternative to the Africa Twin for those who are going to be riding on road more. So
yeah. And I think we both agreed when we rolled out the garage, the bikes, we just went, ooh, surprisingly attractive bikes.
It's quite snazzy, isn't it, with the yellow seat and things?
Yeah. So we've got a ride today from Milton Keynes, where we picked the bikes up at Suzuki, to Milton in the Cotswolds. So we're off. So we've been riding these bikes for a couple of hours now, out from Milton Keynes to the Cotswolds, and we thought we'd just stop and give first impression. So Nathan's been on the 1000. What do you think?
It's as I remember it from the previous version, which I know it's not had a lot of tweaks, but it just feels a little bit more polished. I think they've tuned the suspension, make it a little bit more supple, so I think the ride quality is better. Other than that, there's not that much difference. I'm getting a bit of snatch in the clutch when I'm going through the gears, but I don't know if that's something you get used to. But I mean, I love the engine on this. I think it's a grunty, raucous engine, nice exhaust note, good power. Riding position feels good, controls are nicely at hand. Seems to handle well, pull well. Just this screen, you know, I'm not sure it's the most aesthetically pleasing, and I don't know how effective it's going to be in that position, but like that, it's all right. So I like it. Really.
More like a brick upright wall when it's in its fully upright position.
Yeah, and they've still got these barn door wing mirrors, which can cause turbulence, I remember from the last one, but they are really effective as wing mirrors, which I guess is what you want from a wing mirror.
Yeah,
what about the 650?
In some respects, it reminds me a little bit of the bike we reviewed on last month's show, which is the Versys 650. So the power is never going to blow you away, but equally, if you were new into bike riding, it's just enough. And I think we were talking earlier, if it's a bike you ride day in, day out, that just becomes the power you're used to. And it's more than enough to have fun on the back roads. I think if you were doing a lot of your riding on bigger, more open roads, if you're used to riding a bigger bike, you'd probably feel a bit lackluster. But
we were saying that you look a bit cramped on it.
Yeah, it still feels a little bit like a small bike. It reminds me of riding the Transalpine Road around the Mediterranean Sea 5-6 years ago. It just feels, it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine, but it just feels a little bit small for me. But no, otherwise we did have to tweak the suspension because you noticed it was looking a bit soggy and it felt a bit
jacked
soggy.
up the preload.
So jacked it up and it's fine now. It's handling a lot better.
I'm looking forward to getting a ride on that actually. I do like this a lot, but I've only ridden those briefly in the past.
Yeah, and equally I'm looking forward to getting on that one.
Okay, the swap.
So today we have climbed the heights of adventure, from Milton Keynes to Milton under Wychwood, the huge distance of about 48 miles.
Feels longer.
It does feel longer,
Feels
doesn't
a lot
it?
longer.
It does feel longer.
Longest I've ever ridden, I think, this.
But it has been a glorious day of riding, a little bit of off-road, lots of tarmac, lots of warm weather, t-shirts, for some of us anyway.
Bit of trail as well.
Yeah,
A little bit.
of trail riding. But now we're just going to talk about the bikes. Come on, Nathan, tell us about the 1000.
Well, I've always been partial to the 1000, I've got to be honest. It's been a bit of an unsung hero of mine. I ran a long-termer for about 9,000 miles when I was at ABR and loved it. Did a lot of trail riding, fitted some Karoo 3s on it, crash bars, dropped it a lot, used it a lot, rode it a lot, and I really liked it. And I was excited to get hold of this XT because it gave me what I wanted back then, these spoke wheels. I mean, obviously the spoke wheels don't make any difference to the way it rides or anything, but it's just to see, it's nice to see Suzuki giving it a bit more what we wanted. Changes otherwise are minimal. We've got some tapered bars, a bit thicker because the original ones from a few years ago are a bit spindly. It's got a one-touch start button, and it's also got quite, as I've discovered today, quite a nice feature. It's got like an anti-stall device, so it just just gives you a bit more revs, or the system gives you a bit more revs when you're pulling away, and it's very imperceptible until you want to do a bit of trail riding, and then when you notice it's almost preventing you stalling when you're at that crawling clutch feathering stage. So, I mean, I've been reminded what a great bike it is. I mean, 10 grand. You could argue all day whether it's better value than an Africa Twin, which is 800 quid more. You could argue all day whether the engine's better and whether it's a better road bike. But I think as you measure it as a standalone product, Suzuki have done a good job. I mean, it's not high tech, it's not a glamorous machine. I think the colour scheme, you either love it or maybe hate it. I think we like it, don't we?
I love the colour scheme. I actually wasn't necessarily expecting to kind of like it as much as I have liked it today. And I think it's an interesting comparison. We've talked quite a lot today about comparing it to the Africa Twin, and it's not really a direct comparison because the Africa Twin's a bike very specifically designed for off-road. I think this will be, and is perfectly capable of doing off-road stuff, but it's not an off-road bike. But I really prefer it on the road to the Africa Twin.
Yeah,
I mean, it's only got 7 or 8 horsepower more, but I think it's got a lot more character to it. It's got a slightly kind of bigger road bikey feel. And if I was going to be doing a lot more road miles, but wanted a bike that could do some off-road as well, I wasn't expecting to choose to serve the Africa Twin, but I probably would.
Because you didn't. I remember we rode this alongside a Super Tenere about 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah. And you weren't really a big fan of the V-strom. You kind of passed you by, I think. Yeah,
but I think there's a bit about the looks. I think it's, as you said, with the version with the spoke wheels, it's just changed enough to make it feel a bit more adventure-y. Although we were again talking earlier about it says Sport Adventure Tourer on it.
It's a mixed message, isn't it? I don't think Suzuki or the bike knows really what it wants to be. So I think that leaves it up to the rider to make it what they want it to be.
Yeah, but I've really enjoyed riding it. I think the engine's got a bit more character than the Africa Twin, and certainly a lot more than like the Versys 1000, for example.
Yeah, and it's nice tubeless spokes, which is something you don't get on the Africa Twin. Tubeless rims even. So
yeah.
What about the 650?
As opposed to those special tubeless spokes.
Yeah, tubeless spokes. Sorry.
No, 650.
Too much sun. Tell us about the 650.
Well, the kind of thing that kind of jumped out to me was, it's a bit like the 650 Versys. I think if you're after a bike, you've just passed your test, or you're not all that confident on a bigger, heavier bike, this is going to work for you. I don't think it's particularly exciting on the road, but the big difference, and we both said it straight away, is as soon as you get onto it, the weight.
Yeah, it's a lot lighter, isn't it?
20 or 30 kilos lighter. Which would make a difference off-road, certainly.
Well, that little trail riding we did, it was noticeably just less effort it took, didn't it?
Yeah.
I still preferred this, but that made it feel a little bit less effort. But I think we were both underwhelmed by the 650, wasn't it?
Exactly, a bit,
And I don't think that's a slur on the engine side, because I really like the Tracer, the Yamaha Tracer 650, or 690, whatever its CC is. NC 750 Honda. It's not as though we've got anything against smaller bikes, but it doesn't shout at you, does it?
No, it's just a little bit underwhelming, and particularly I think it sits in a bit of the shadow of the bigger brother, which is a lot more fun to ride, and not, I think, just because of the bigger engine. The brakes are much better on that.
Yeah.
Don't you know? I was a bit kind of, the brakes felt really kind of.
And I find the riding position odd on that. I find it draws me out in the shoulders, whereas this sat quite nice and upright.
Yeah.
And oddly though, they sell about, I don't know, 2 to 1 with the 650 to the 1000 or even more. So that's a far more popular model.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably a bike you'd grow to love. You'd own it, you'd buy it, you'd ride it, you'd start to see its virtues, and you wouldn't miss its lack of power. Or
that's it. Once you ride it a lot, the lack of power wouldn't be such an issue.
No. And actually, once you get on it, it's got plenty there. I know when we pulled away together, and I was on this, and I gave it full on through the revs on this, and I just pulled away from you.
But not by too much.
But not by too much. So that doesn't feel very giving when you're in mid-range. But if you really try and wring it out, it does start to deliver, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Price-wise, what was it? 7,899, 7,800.
I mean, kind of value. If you're looking for value for your money, I think both bikes are good value for your money. Definitely. I mean, that's a lot of bike for 10 and a half, isn't it? Just over 10 and a half.
10.
So
worth the extra £2,000?
Yeah, definitely. So worth the extra £2,000. Would you have one of those in your garage?
I would. I certainly would. As an alternative to my GS, I think I would, because this is as I found when I had one at ABR and ran it for them miles, it's just a brilliant no-frills bike. It doesn't ask a lot of you. You chuck it in your back garden, you wheel it out your shed or whatever, you get on it, you ride it as far as you want to go. It's a simple maintenance, it's a simple machine. It just, whereas I know you've got the 1190 and the GS, and it's all about the image and the expectation and what people maybe think of you. But on these, you just get on them and ride them. They're basic bikes, but I think they do a good job.
Well, I think the colour scheme on that one is pretty striking. I think it's nice. And we said, when you look at that bike in the mirrors or you see it coming towards you, it does look good. I think if I was looking for a 10 grand bike and couldn't spend any more, I would have one of those in my garage as well.
Oh.
But
this one?
Not so much. Not so much.
Can't win them all.
Our Max panniers include all features within the price. You don't end up paying extra for locks and handles. There are no hidden costs. Metal Mule. Engineered to be different. Proud sponsors of the bike reviews on Adventure Bike TV.
Thanks, as always, to Nathan for organising the bikes for us today. It's been a fabulous day out. Now, it's time for film school. And this month, Tom is taking us behind the scenes on today's filming, and he'll also be explaining a little bit about the mysteries of 4K.
Hello and welcome to this month's Film School. Now in this month's Film School I'm going to try and answer some questions for you that you've been sending in. So we're going to start with the question about should I use 4K? So the first thing is to understand exactly what 4K is. So standard definition, which is what you get on DVDs, has 720 by 480. Now that's the pixels that are on the screen. So the total amount of pixels in there is actually 405,504. So then we move on to HD, which is where you will have heard the term 1080, because it's actually 1920 by 1080 pixels. This gives you a total pixels of 2,073,600. So it's quite a lot of pixels and a huge increase in pixels on the original standard definition. Then we move to 4K. Now 4K is just over 4 times more pixels than you would get with HD. So you actually get 4096 by 2160, giving you a total pixel number of 8,294,406. But what does this actually mean? Well, it means you're getting a much higher quality picture, but will you be able to see it? Now, most experts say that the human eye cannot see the difference between HD and 4K unless the TV size becomes 40 inches or larger. Now you might also look at a TV that is HD next to a 4K TV and it's say be a 32 inch and think you can see a difference, but you're not normally seeing the difference in pixels. What you're seeing is a difference between progressive and interlaced. Interlacing is a bit of an old school method of how to record video. What you're actually recording, rather than a single picture every frame, you're recording every other line, and then the next frame fills in that line for you. Now, interlaced isn't used that much anymore. Film obviously used progressive, all 4K TVs use progressive, and everything is moving over to progressive because that interlaced does not work when you're using it on the internet. You get this horrible kind of line effect and it looks rubbish. So should you record your travel film in 4K? Personally, no. We don't record our show in 4K because most people are going to watch it online, and there are loads of extra problems when you come to 4K. The first one is the file size. When you're looking at 4K, the file sizes are huge and you have to take a huge amount of storage with you on your trip. Then when you get home and want to upload it to the internet, it's going to take forever. AdventureBike TV is about an hour long every month. It's filmed in 1080p high def, and it takes, with our fibre broadband, about 2 to 3 hours to upload. A 4K version of our show, we'd be looking at about 18 hours. But 4K does have its uses. Now have a look at this. This is a bit of footage from our drone. Now we filmed this in 4K and it allows us to do something fantastic. It means that we can zoom in without losing any quality. We can make the image 4 times bigger, and when we watch it back in HD, you will not be able to tell the difference, which is a fantastic tool. Obviously 4K is the future, and we use it a lot on our commercial projects, but it's not the be all and end all. In fact, recently I helped out on a big Mercedes advert, and although that was a 6-figure budget, they still only filmed in HD because it was for the internet. So don't feel like you have to go and replace your HD camera with a 4K camera straight away. Okay, so next question we had from Idaho Dual Sport on YouTube, and he asked us, I'd like to know if there are any tips for safely packing a digital SLR on a bike trip. I have aluminium panniers and a dedicated camera bag for it, but I wonder how durable the Canon is when bouncing around on rocky terrain. We also had a similar question from Lars Holst, I hope I said your name right, saying, I just wonder, wouldn't the cameras recommended need to be somehow waterproof or splash proof and shock absorbent in some way? So realistically, no, there are very few cameras out there that are really high end yet waterproof and have huge amounts of shock resistant in there. You might get a few compact cameras, but realistically, if you want to take one of the kind of ones like digital SLRs we've been recommending, the best thing you can try and do is to make sure it's padded as much as possible where you're storing it. So Touratech, for example, do a fantastic tank bag which has all the kind of segments for cameras, and then you can actually seal it and it becomes waterproof. So it's a great little piece of kit, and you can actually take the inner bag out with you and it turns into a rucksack. It's quite a cool little piece of kit. I've had one for quite a few years and it's served me really well. But the key is just make sure that you put plenty of kind of padding foam around your cameras, keep them as safe as you can, but just be prepared that they're going to get bashed about. So the next question I had was, can we have some tips on editing? Now this is a bit difficult because people use different editing softwares and things like that. However, I am trying my best to figure out a way that we can put it into this course, make it interesting and make it so that it kind of relates to all editing programs, not just something specific. The next question was, why do you have to have adverts? I would think it's pretty self-explanatory. You can't make a show like this for free. So we have some great supporters, sponsors and advertisers who come on. There is a way around it, if I'm honest. We have started a Patreon page, which if you go Patreon, www.patreon.com/AdventureBikeTV, you can donate on our Patreon page. And we do have a target on there that says if we reach a certain amount, we can get rid of advertising. But the advertisers there, they support us, they do a great job for us, and we're really pleased to have them on board and we love working with them. So, you know, show a little understanding. We can't make this show for free, I'm afraid. The next one to address is that we have a few viewers who, on a monthly basis, tell us how awful our show is and how much they can't stand it. Yet they watch it every month to tell us how bad it is. I would simply say, why are you watching if you hate it so much? You know, if you don't like it, don't watch it, it's fine. It's okay. And finally, we've had about 6 or 7 emails asking us to do a kind of behind the scenes of one of our filming days. So while we were filming the Suzuki review, we did some stuff like that. It's all simple stuff done on our phone, but you can watch it now. I'm just leaving home to head up to Suzuki. Okay, so we're at Suzuki now. Suzuki. Picking up the bikes with Nathan and Graham. They've just gone off to pick up the bikes. I'm setting up the cameras. Okay, so just to talk you through a little bit about the filming kit that we've got here today for our bike review. Obviously you wouldn't take this much with you on a full-blown trip, but it's just to give you an idea of what we use because people ask us all the time. So this is our main camera. This is a Sony FS700. Because today we've got 2 presenters, we've got Graham and Nathan. We've got two receivers here which will go to the transmitters. They go into the camera and then they record all the sound. We have our backup camera, which is our XF100 Canon, which is a great little camera, and we tend to use that for a lot of the shots where we just jump out the car very quickly and bits and bobs like that.
2000s, obviously got the XT is new for this year. Got the spoke wheels, tapered handlebars, a few little tweaks to make it Euro 4 compliant, but not.
So it's 11:30 now on our filming day. We have travelled a distance of got to be a mile and a half, and we're eating. Say hi, guys.
Hi guys.
So this is Nathan hanging out in the bushes with a camera, which is what he normally does on a shoot.
Normally we'll be in my hand. No today? No.
Although your flies are undone, it does look extremely dodgy.
Been waving at a woman who just went past the Volvo XC90. She looked nonplussed.
A lot of our day is spent at the side of the road while pictures are taken, and we do stuff like, shut up Graham, while Graham forgets his lines and annoys me.
And the talent gets annoying.
And we do a huge amount of setup and things like that, so that takes time, which is fine on a nice glorious sunny day like this. But when it's January and it's raining and Graham can't remember his lines, we fall out. So right now the guys are doing their kind of midway through the day talk about how they like the bikes. So for this we're using tie clip mics, which is how I know I can talk all the way over here and they won't be able to hear me. Incidentally, when you're doing stuff to camera like this, a few tips: if you've got a double chin like me, don't hold it down here because that looks awful. Hold it up here and suddenly the double chin's gone. Kind of about 3/4 of the way through our filming day now, and Graham is happy with me because I might have crashed the drone. So we're now at the final location for the day, which is where the guys are going to talk about the bike and what they thought. So we're just setting up the shot here. So the guys are doing their sum up now. Okay, so that's pretty much the day. It's 8:15 now, and I'm just heading home. Should be home by, according to the sat nav, 10:30. So yeah, that's what we do. Okay, that's film school for this month. Hope you've enjoyed it. Sorry if I've been a bit sweaty, but there's lots of lights and it's a blisteringly hot summer's day. However, one last question before we go was from someone saying, can we see more outtakes? So here you go.
Ridden the original.
Okay. Alright.
Welcome to the bike review.
Okay.
Graham, jeez, man.
Oh, I tell you what.
They've been amazing. They've been amazing this year, so
Gonna have to do that
we're
again.
going to have to do this again.
Every year, Touratech do a travel event, and I've been lucky enough to go and be a speaker or an MC there for the last 6 or 7 years. This year, I went along just as a punter. This year's travel event was a little bit special. I've been to the Touratech Travel Event pretty much every year now for the last 7 years, usually speaking or doing something else to help the guys out here. And every year it's a little bit different. This year though, it is something extra specially different. The size. They have got, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of people here this year. They've had to move the camping site because they've got so many people staying overnight. They've got BMW, they've got Triumph here and Ducati. And Ducati is something extra special. It's their Multistrada Enduro Roadshow all the way from Italy, and this event is the very first event they've come to. I had the strangest compliment paid to Adventure Bike TV when I was up at Walters Arena earlier. This guy came up to me and he said, "I've got something slightly disturbing to say to you." Never seen them before in my life, but as always, fans of Adventure Bike TV, always happy to speak to them. He said, "At the start of every month, I watch Adventure Bike TV in the bath." He said, "It's my favourite bath time of the month." Thanks for watching.
Ducati UK are here at the Touratech Travel Event with 25 Multistrada Enduros. We're here with the Multistrada Enduro Experience, which gives you the chance to ride on the road with these wonderful bikes and our great instructors here. And also, we have an off-road section where you get to ride with Beppe, the Dakar rider. You get to learn all the technical experience and get to learn everything about how to ride a Multistrada Enduro on and off-road. It's a great experience, so hopefully you'll get a chance to do it here or somewhere else.
We've just been up on Walters Arena having a play. It's been absolutely brilliant.
And they were fairly happy that we'd be fine on level 1, but we did do level 2 and decided level 3 would be okay as well. So we didn't go with Nick on level 4, and that was a bit beyond us.
You're telling me. I don't want to keep flying our outfit, but it was really good, needless to say.
How you doing? I'm Hirst, aka Tomorrow Rider, Around the World Adventurer. I'm here today on the Triumph UK Adventure Bus, as we call the Explorer behind me. We're here at the Touratech Travel Event for the weekend. Luckily, the sun is shining. There's a little bit of worse wind, but it's fantastic. Triumph is here basically doing ride-outs. People can come along, they can test ride the Tiger Sport, the Scrambler, the Explorer, the Tiger 800. Free of charge. Come along, give it a ride the hills and the mountains, and yeah, just enjoy the ride. And that's why we're all here. So, and you can also test ride the dummy bikes. And again, it's all about travel. It's all about bikes. It's all about what we love, and that's why we're here.
We're here at Touratech Travel Event with Jack Lucasen, long-standing travel extraordinaire. Jack, tell us about this machine.
This machine was an R1, and I call it now Arctic one because I'm gonna take it to the North Pole. And all I use from it in the beginning is the frame and the engine. And I'm going to build everything myself on it. I found out during my last trip on the polar ice that I need much wider tires.
You've got 2 tires. You're going to vulcanise these together?
Yes,
right?
yes, I'm going to vulcanise these together. There will be one thread on there. You won't even see that these are 2 tires.
And then air suspension.
Air suspension, yeah, very important. The problem last time was when I dropped the bike and I wanted to pick it up. It's too hard. It's so hard to get it up. So with the air suspension, I can lower the bike when I drop it till 5 centimeters lower than a standard R1. And then I can pick it up and then I can rise it again. It will have also air suspension at the front.
And when are you doing this?
The plan is to do in 2019 the first leg. The first leg will be from Anchorage in Alaska in January 2019 till Tuktoyaktuk in Canada. There I will go on the polar ice, and during February and March I want to reach Hunt Island, which is the most northern island in Canada. The next year in 2020 I want to start there again and do the last up to the North Pole.
So it's a long-term project?
It's absolutely a long-term project.
Excited?
I am, yeah, definitely. When you're here at this Touratech Travel Event, you meet all people that are excited in it as well, and then it gives you a boost. Yeah.
Nervous?
No,
not
absolutely
nervous.
not nervous. No, the only thing I'm nervous about is finding the money. So
buy Jack's book.
Buy my book, buy my DVD, and get on my North Pole Ride support flag. People can get on the flag and get their name on it or their logo, and that way they ride symbolically with me to the North Pole, because the flag will go with me
to the North Pole. Yeah.
Yes, and every now and then when there's an important event, they get also a picture sent of that with the North Pole flag, so they are part of the team.
So go at what website is it, Jack?
They can go on my website, r1goesextreme.com, and go to North Pole and then support. But the whole story about the build and everything is on my website as well. So r1goesextreme.com.
Check that out and help Jack on his way. Cheers.
So we're just about to go and do our massive ride through Astragan lines, our big procession ride through the village. I've got to say a big thank you to all the people that have turned up this year, because it's been a fantastic year with the amount of people that have turned up. And I want to say obviously a big thank you to the town of Astragan Lines as well, because they've been behind us all the way.
So the Touratech Travel Event 2017 has been something really quite special this year. The atmosphere is fabulous, and there are hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of people here. And I think the fact that I must have had 15 or 20 people come up to us saying we love Adventure Bike TV reflects the number of people we've had here. It has been fabulous, and we will be back next year. After the break, it's time for Under the Visor, and this month's Under the Visor actually has a genuine, actual naked woman in it. Now, really, 100% you have got a naked woman in it. And for the ladies, there'll be a naked man as well.
The Adventure Bike Shop, proud sponsors of Adventure Bike TV. Rubbish adverts.
Greater adventure.
The Adventure Bike Shop, proud sponsors of Adventure Bike TV. Rubbish adverts.
Greater adventure.
Now it is time for Under the Visor, where Jay Hirst is going to be talking about his horrific accident and his plans for his future in motorcycling. And keep your eyes peeled, because there really are some naked people in the background.
My name's Jay Hirst, and I'm here to tell you today not about a motorcycle adventure, but about an accident that almost stopped all my future adventures. I got into motorcycling and motorbikes at a very early age with Pee-wee motocross, went on from there. Parents were into motorbikes, come from a big biking background. It's just been in my life forever. So as far as I can remember, I've hardly been without a motorcycle. I think the longest I ever went was a summer, and that was difficult. I've worked with motorcycles for a number of years as well. I rode motorcycles in the army, and I've just never been without one. Couldn't be without one. So it was a lovely Sunday afternoon. I got on the bike going for a ride, and I was halfway to my destination, and unfortunately I had a collision with a car. Yeah, so what happened is it was just a normal single carriageway, 30-mile-an-hour limit, and I was just travelling as you do. Great weather, brilliant to be out on a bike, and a car pulled out on me, and I hit the pillar of the car, so the main, where the windscreen is, that main part of the car, which so I'm told is the hardest part of a car to hit. So yeah. I've been asked a lot of questions about, flashbacks and things like that. Did you see your life go before your eyes? No, I saw a car, and it really hurt. No, I stayed conscious throughout. I remember everything. I remember hitting the car. I remember the pillion that I had at the time hitting me as well. After hitting the car, I went flat up against the car and then just dropped to the side with the bike just next to me. Thankfully, there was an ambulance station about a quarter of a mile away, which has since shut down, so it's a good job it was still there at the time. The ambulance got there very, very quickly. Got bundled into the ambulance. They cut all your clothes off, they put you onto a spinal board, and I just remember feeling very wet. I just felt like saturated with water, sweat, whatever it was, but didn't know it was actually my lungs collapsing on the inside. In the ambulance, my heart actually stopped beating, passed out, woke back up. I had a paramedic shouting, "We've got him back, we've got him back." Defibrillators in his hand, tube down my throat, sorry. And yeah, very, very uncomfortable ride to the hospital. When I got to the hospital, the first thing I tried to get hold of somebody. It was like a scene out of, like you see in ER or something like that. Everyone running around like lunatics. Got hold of somebody, and the first question I asked was, "How was my bike?" They didn't want to answer that. They were just like, "We're concerned with you." I then had the main surgeon came up to me and just said, "We're going to put you to sleep now." And that was it. They put me to sleep, and I later found out as well that my heart had stopped beating through blood loss while I was in theatre. Pillion, absolutely fine, hardly a mark. Kind of just flicked up, landed on top of the car, and walked off. Not many bumps and bruises at all, really. I didn't know how to cope with it at all. When I woke up, I was put into an induced coma for 10 days. Then you wake up, you're very disorientated, not sure what's happening. I just remember being hooked up to a lot of machines, didn't know what to think. I didn't even remember at the time being in an accident. That didn't until come back for a few days, medication and stuff like that. But all I could think about was getting back on a bike. It's all I could think about throughout everything. From the moment I woke up, I could just think bikes. I remember being quite delirious and asking a nurse if I could go home, and she said, "Can't really go home." And I turned around to her and said, "I'll be fine." There's a naked Is it wrong that I think Lee's got the better bum? I've never looked at a woman's boobs without being slapped before. Like, you know, it's great. Yeah, I don't know why I thought about bikes. Even my mother, she asked me, she said, "Are you going to get back on a bike?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to get back on a bike." It's just, I don't know, I feel more comfortable on a bike than I have ever done in a car. Can't explain it. It's just one of those things. I was back on a bike within 3 months. I couldn't walk properly, and I had a Suzuki Bandit, and I used to strap my crutches to the side of the Bandit with some bungee cords and ride wherever I had to go. Yeah, everyone thought I was nuts. My future plans, health permitting, through the accident I did lose, I lost a kidney, I lost a spleen, split my diaphragm, lost half a lung, broke every single rib on my left side, and I pulled all of my right shoulder out, and obviously that was in 2011 that this happened, and I've just recently had reconstruction surgery on my shoulder about 8.5 weeks ago, and as you can see, I'm back on a bike again. Just can't seem to stay off them. So future plans, I'm hoping to do a lot more travelling, hoping to get out a lot more. My main thing that I'm focusing on at the moment is I'm going to try and attempt the Dakar. Hopefully in the next 3 to 4 years. I've got to get my strength back up, I've got to recover fully, and obviously get the rest of the money in that I'm going to need for doing it. But it is something that I really want to do. It's one of those things, it's like, it's the hardest thing to do on a bike that I can see. I want to do it to say I've done it. And apart from that, I just want to travel as much as possible. I've done more on a bike, travelling wise, since my accident than I did before my accident. So I've spent more time on a bike after my accident. Hasn't fazed me at all. When I've got everything final where I can start my process with the Dakar, we'll be starting a page up on Facebook so people can follow the progress of what I'm doing. And I'll just update it as much as possible and just tell people what I'm up to. If you are out there and you've had an accident on a bike, don't be afraid to get back on it. Don't ever be afraid to get back on it. If you like bikes, it's something you've got to do, and you've got to get, just carry on. I know I've got friends that have had accidents and they've never gone back on a bike. And when I speak to them, I go to their house, they're like, "Oh, dude, I wish I'd have got back on a bike." I'm like, get back on a bike. Do it. You're your own person. Yeah.
This month's travel journal will be combined with Adventure Bike TV's short adventure film competition. It's the winner of Best Editing. It's Reese Laurie.
For shoes and have some fun. Get ready, get set, let's go. If we never go, we'll never know. 'Cause you and I, oh yeah, we could fly so high, so high. Moment pass us by, So grab somebody, do-si-do, 'cause life's a dance floor, don't you know? Hey, there's electricity in the air, so come join the party if you dare. 'Cause you and I, oh yeah, we could fly so high, so high. This moment pass us by, won't let this moment pass us by, won't let this moment pass us by. Won't let this moment pass us by. We could fly so high, so high. You and I won't let this moment pass us by, pass us by. You and I, oh yeah, we could fly so high, so high. You and I won't let this moment pass us by. 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 Won't let this moment pass us by.
Yes!
Right, now, before I wrap up the show, I want to say a few thank yous. Well, a few thank yous on behalf of Tom as well. I want to thank Geek Media for producing the show, for all our sponsors, our advertisers, and for everybody who's been watching the show for the previous 3 years. Thank you so much, and please stick with us all the way through season 4. Thank you for watching.
The Adventure Bike Shop, proud sponsors of Adventure Bike TV. Rubbish Adverts.
Greater Adventure.